All right.
Mm.
So just looking through the notes, it's been 2 weeks, not too
Yeah,
long.
no, not too long. I wasn't sure how often you tend to do these slots, whether it should
Yeah,
be
this
2
is
weeks or
fine.
7
This is
months.
good.
If there's a sort of a balance you like, or we like rather.
It really depends on the situation. Usually it's every couple weeks or so. So
Yeah.
that's very good. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what would you like to look at today?
Well, in terms of, and I'm just going to move your screen because it's on the wrong screen at the moment. Sorry, not ideal. That's better. So I guess, I mean, I just just explore, the past few weeks and the sleep and the stress and that part of it, and then look at you know look at strength in the sense of physical strength, perhaps, and in referring to the fact that I need to find balance between building strength, study, but because osteopathy is a physical manual therapy in the most part, or particularly not so much now, but in a few years time or a year and a half's time, when you start your own practice, it becomes more intensive. I mean, it's not so bad at university, straight enough, because you don't see as many patients because it's spread out more. But as you start practice, and there's a high case of sort of physical burnout, and I can't necessarily associate that with strength. I guess there comes with flexibility somewhat and movement, which I haven't necessarily put in any like start now brackets, but on reflection, they may need to sort of be bumped up.
Okay. So it's sounding like a general area of exploring balance, strength, flexibility.
Yeah, for myself, and also so I don't sort of, I can serve others by maintaining my own health. So, I'm not going to burn out, and then, obviously that this is a career. So I need to find that sort of balance physically as much as mentally.
Yeah. So what would a win look like at the end of our conversation today?
A win would look, I'm not sure what a win would look like at the moment, because I've just, because I guess it's just finding some, laying a bit of foundation for movement, strength, to support myself. And at the moment it's a little bit hard because you can't do anything except on your own at home, because you can't go to gyms or anything like that for another, god, about 2-3 months, I suspect. So it's just, I can do things at home, and I'm doing movements and I'm doing stuff, but I just need to be a bit more focused. It's a bit ad hoc. So perhaps laying some foundations to be a bit more uh, structured, I guess, if you want to call it that, particularly, where I'm now also balancing studies, which, sometimes get quite intense, as I mentioned before, with, assignments, and I'm sure you can appreciate.
Yeah. So am I hearing you that a win today would be to find clarity on how to create focus and structure, or to actually create the focus and structure?
I guess really it just, you know, I kind of like last time, I kind of probably do know the answers. So for me, can I structure like training? Yes, because I've done that for
Yeah.
my running, and I'm quite meticulous about it. But
Yeah.
what I do find difficult, I'm like so I find the difficulty managing at the moment my time between study and setting aside appropriate time to do the what I would call physical strength, cardio, my running, and that obviously flips back to sleep and stress somewhat. It's all intertwined. but taking the next step to manage my time much better, because I'm all or nothing. So I'm either throwing myself into doing an activity, you know, because I want to see changes and improvement, or you know, observe myself. But I've made that, you know, conscious decision while starting the degree, that I know I can't do that level of training as I used to, because my time isn't necessarily the same, and I need to focus to getting the osteopathy over the line. However, because it takes a lot of physical, you know, there's a lot of physical and fatigue involved with you know, the study and the physical nature of it somewhat, that I need to support that also with doing some strength cardio, and it's just finding the balance of time to do it.
Okay. So what I'm hearing in your language is almost a binary way of looking at your life, with
Mm-hmm.
intellectual wellness is your
Mm-hmm.
studies and all that, versus physical wellness,
Mm-hmm.
which is strength and sleep and all that.
Movement, flexibility, yeah.
Flexibility. And it feels like you've got those two. It's like like you just said, all or nothing. I'm all
Yeah.
in on intellectual wellness.
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah,
leave out the physical wellness, or I'm all in on the physical wellness. I'm going to leave
yeah,
out my studies.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's actually quite that was quite a in the past that's been quite common, particularly, you know, when I was in Singapore, for example. When I was working, the job was fairly, I wouldn't say easy, but I've done a job for a long time, so it kind of second nature. So I could afford just, you know, to throw myself into doing this training and kind of get away with work because I could manage it. But and so I could throw myself into it, and it supported myself to achieve things that I didn't think I could achieve. So that was great, and that's a positive, because I know I can do things, and it stays with you. You know, you don't forget that. So, but this time's a little bit different,
Yeah.
because obviously I don't know, I'm not so comfortable with what I'm doing academically or as the manual therapist in the osteopathy world, and combining the two, in the, you know, the biopsychosocial nature of it as well. So that's so there's a lot of, you know, but I'm conscious that, you know, my underlying health is deteriorating. Not to say I need to be at that peak I was before, because I'm quite comfortable. I don't need to be there. It doesn't serve anything. But at the same time, I don't want to slip down where I'm getting injuries or illness, which creeps in. And I've noticed that a lot with student osteopaths. The illness and creeps in, and fatigue creeps in over the course of the 4 years. I just want to try and find that balance. And it's getting to a critical point where this year, from now onwards, I'm doing a dissertation, and then you're building up to your final exam. So it's a critical point.
Yeah. And if you were to explore using the word and instead of or, like intellectual wellness or physical wellness, if you were to explore using the word and, what might that look like for you, this balance? If you are pursuing your studies, which is what I'm calling intellectual wellness, and at the same time physical wellness, what might that look like?
Ideally, it would require a little bit of but it would require some planning, so structure, which I don't have. I'm just doing it ad hoc as I fit it in. So setting aside a certain amount of times, which I've tried to do, and I fall to the wayside if I get carried away with some study. So I need to be the discipline side of it, which is in me. I am quite disciplined in lots of ways, but sometimes I get carried away with study, partly because it's interesting sometimes, and I allow that to take over. But then I start getting, you know, regrets about not, you know, and or feeling a bit down that I haven't done what I needed to do on the physical side. So having structure and looking at, understanding my own timetable literally, and then finding those slots, whether it's 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, just to do what I need to do, rather than an ad hoc nature, which serves you, and you're still doing exercise, you're still doing that, but you're not building on something. You're not adding extra little layers that or however thin they are. You're just incrementally adding stuff, which will serve towards the end of the degree, because you've got that endurance, stamina, so to speak, mentally and a little bit physically to work through that. And that going back to stress and sleep, it sort of wraps up.
Yeah, I can see that. So again, how to do all these things, how to develop a structure, all of that kind of thing. How to get discipline well, let me ask this question. When you find yourself very disciplined on something, what is causing you to choose to be disciplined in those moments?
So I have to, so for me to be disciplined, I need two things. One is the interest, in the subject. I'm sort of person, if I have no interest, I'll just forget about it, one is naturally the interest and the curiosity, and the secondly is I vision the goal of me finishing something. So if I'm running, I still always see myself finishing at the end line. So that's what I plan myself to do, and I like to have set enough time that I can incrementally achieve that. So I'm not smashing it out straight away. I'm slowly building towards that. So I need a bit of time to do that, and it requires a discipline to do that, because and the regularity of doing something to slowly achieve your end goal.
And what's missing here for you to choose to be disciplined?
I guess the difference here is I don't have a physical goal. I don't have a running event to train for, or a cycle event. So I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
But I enjoy doing it, which is really odd. You know what I mean? It's a bit half-baked at the moment, so to speak.
So that's really what drives you. If you have some kind of a competition or something like that.
Yeah, perhaps, but yes and no. I mean, I've stopped doing running events. I like running events, but I don't want to add the added pressure of trying to, in this situation, say, oh, let's do a marathon, in 6 months' time. Oh, that'll complement my studies, because it won't. It's just stressed me out, because I'll be focused on training for that end goal, rather than study take over me again, because I love running and I like that part of it. So I've purposely stopped having that goal. So I kind of want to the goal for me really is to get to the say this time next year. Okay. If I had to think of a goal, let's take right, end of Feb, take it forward, and I'm building a graph like that, simple there, right? That's baby, and each time I'm slowly building my endurance and stamina towards this. Saying why next year is because I would be supporting my dissertation until Christmas, and then after that, you start your the clinic assessments, which are more physical, and you'll be doing more physical stuff, and you're coming to the end. So I kind of want to, build up, this strength, endurance, movement, just to support this next year, because this is quite an intense period. Once you get through into February, you can not relax, but you've got over the, you can see the finishing line, so to speak. So for me, it's the if you work hard at the training, right, the actual race itself should be relatively straightforward, because you've done all the hard work. That's how I see it. You can't legislate for what happens on the day. You might get injured, whatever. You just live with that, right? You accept that, and hope you have a good day or not. but I just want to get to the point that I've put as much in as I feel I can up to February, or at least give me a year. So that's my goal, and then, on continue. So I feel I've supported myself physically as much as intellectually, I guess.
So how would you measure that?
So I mean, I would measure that purely by consistency, right? Yeah, this time around. If you make, I'm not looking to say run, go from my current 10K time of 50 minutes to 40 minutes. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at, my goal is consistency. So each week, am I meeting those physical, targets of doing some exercise? Am I doing that without putting too much pressure? And I'm doing those 30 minutes, the hour, and am I doing it without to the best of my abilities? That will be my measure.
How many times a week, and what is it that you're looking at in terms of being consistent with?
I guess for me, it's knowing my body. When I feel that I'm able to feel stronger, or get, or my fitness levels, to where I feel meet, I kind of know where they meet what I need to do without sort of tipping it over, would be, 3 or 4 times a week. Yeah, whether that's running or strength exercise. My daily movements, I do a daily movement. I'm every day I do movement, right? So that seems quite strange saying we're talking about this. I am disciplined. I do my mix up of, yoga, tai chi, qigong, and in the mornings every day. I do that every day. That's great, and it gets you moving, it gets you activated, but it doesn't make you it makes you stronger. It makes you prepared for the day, but it doesn't add strength.
It sounds like, to me, I'm having a little trouble following, because you know how to be disciplined, you have this structure, you have this daily movement practice. It's all very very structured. And it just feels like maybe whatever, if something is important to you, you'll structure it. That's the feeling that I get. So how important really is this goal?
I think, to me, I feel that I've realized it maybe the past few years, whilst it wasn't so important, right? I agree with that, and maybe it's fallen to the wayside, so to speak, in terms of, I haven't let myself go by any means, but what I mean by that is I need the goal of overall sort of strength physically as much as mentally has come to the forefront probably since Christmas, since been in lockdown, since not and I've noticed that I'm getting physically tired, and as things are ramping up in clinic, I know I need to be a little bit stronger. It's become more noticeable as I've gone to clinic, so it wasn't apparent before, now it's more apparent. So I need to set that goal to sort of to support not just my studies but beyond that. So like I said, it's a physical job, osteopathy. So and I haven't, I know that my body in its current way is not, can't support that necessarily. Yeah, you adapt yourself, you become very fluid in your movements, right? But I haven't learned that, and I need to learn that. I need to be fluid and stronger, and manage my body much better than perhaps I have been in the last few years or 3 years. That's the key for me, and that's why I want to do it. But I haven't been able to find a balance between starting it, study, and not getting too immersed in it.
Right. Okay. So the importance of developing this practice and this consistency is growing.
Yeah.
How would you rate the importance today, 1 to 10?
Oh, 8. I think I'll put
8.
it down as 8.
Okay. And when would it become 10 out of 10 important? If
Never.
you're looking at February 2022, what's that?
Never.
Never. It would never be 10 out of 10 in important.
No, it doesn't need to be that important. I
Okay.
don't think you need to attach that much importance to this. I want to be mindful, like you said, talking about that I need to be this way, and allow it to develop and be structured to over time, that it becomes second nature, but it doesn't have to be 10 out of 10.
Okay.
It becomes you integrate it. So it's important 8 out of 10 now to kickstart it, and to work through the first 3 months, 6 months. It's like so when I stopped drinking, that was 9 out of 10. I had to stop drinking, right? And it's probably 9 out of 10 for like 6 months, whilst I changed the way I lived, the way I behaved, way I needed to behave, how I was observing myself while I stopped drinking, in my social interactions. But after 6 months, it becomes 0 out of 10. It wasn't important.
Yeah.
But it's just me.
Right. So my question actually is, if you did nothing, I would assume the importance, the pressure for you to start doing something would grow. Is that right?
Yeah, you could argue that. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. So if I got to like, November and I hadn't done anything, but yeah, who knows? I mean, it could be that I'm fine and like, it doesn't affect me as much as I thought it would, but I don't know that, and I just want to, and because it's, I want to attempt to do something, or do something that I already do anyway, but just do it in a more supportive way rather than just ad hoc. I just want it to sort of grow me in that sense. So yeah.
Okay, got it.
Question really, but.
So let's say, how many months from now would you like to be consistent with physical exercise, running, whatever, 3 times a week? By when would you like to be consistent?
I think to be honest with you, what for me, it's between now and the next 3 months. Why I say that is because actually I'm coming up to the exam period, right? And it'd be odd enough, although I'm under pressure to do things, it'd be quite, if there's a time to do it, is like now, really, to find that consistency, that to underpin it. And then if I can do it in this sort of environment, then that would be, I guess, a 10 out of 10. But overall, it's a overall 8 out of 10 for the journey, I guess.
Yeah. So this would be be consistent 3 times per week by end of May. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Let's say end of May, you are consistent 3 times per week. It's become a habit. It's not encroaching on your studies. You've got your studies going great, and you've got your practice going great.
Yeah.
What would that say about you?
I mean, it would say that I feel that I was in a good place in that state. And able to able support myself, and secondly support my wife, physically, and we're growing together, because she knows that I'm moving towards osteopathy. But equally, I hope that I'll have the time, the energy and space for the patients, or that I'm serving. So that's where I am. It's for myself, and to have that capacity, extra capacity for others.
Yeah. And if you can come up with 2 or 3 adjectives that describe the person you would be when you're able to do those, both of them, and their balance.
I hate these questions. I can never think of names like this. I'm rubbish with adjectives. There you go. That's an assessment for you. There you go. God, I struggle with these questions all the time. This is like, if I had to have the top questions, how would you describe yourself? I always like shy away from that. I go into like, I become a little leaf and just go away. Boom, boom, bye bye. God, I don't know. Partly because I probably don't know I'm probably not very good with adjectives, really.
Let me put a bunch of adjectives up in the. Would this help if I put adjectives up in the chat box? You can see.
Yeah, I'm normally better for that. Yeah, because then I can choose one. I can't. I find it. I struggle with that. Oh, here we go. Right, straight away. There you go. Adaptive. I'm quite adaptive. That's the first thing that just struck out at me. I'm proactive.
So we're looking for adjectives that you would be.
And resilient.
Is that how you would be once you've achieved that?
Yeah. Yeah. Why? Because if at the moment I wouldn't say I'm adaptive because I'm too, set. But if you have the space, like I was talking about, if I can support myself and create that sort of place where I can move freely, in the sense of, that doesn't make sense, but in the sense of I'm managing, I'm working towards my degree. I'm supporting it physically and mentally. Okay, yeah, there's ups and downs, but I have the extra capacity to adapt myself, and adapting means I can easily adapt to other people and support my work. Resilience, you need to have resilience just because you're going to have ups and downs, and I'll have the ability to be more resilient. I believe if I put this in place, right, I won't have this swings and roundabout, ups and down. And proactive is, again, you've got that extra space to look at other things, be curious about what I'm doing, in terms of, my curiosity with osteopathy. What can I do differently? What can I do, rather than just be structured? I have a bit of, because at the moment I would say I'm just doing it. I'm doing the work that I need to do, rather than think a little bit more. That comes with time. That's because I'm learning, and that's natural as well. But if I support that, then it will allow that process to happen maybe a little bit earlier or more naturally.
Cool. Okay. So adaptive, resilient, and proactive. Yeah. Okay. I like to finish up something I do quite often with people when we're looking at who they will be once they've achieved something. A label at the end. I will be an adaptive, resilient, and proactive. So when I'm working in leadership, it would be leader at the end. If it's a personal thing, it might be husband or wife. What would it be here? What is the word that you would be? Is it osteopath? Is it health professional?
Facilitator.
Okay.
Yeah, osteopaths are facilitators, like, you're facilitating change.
Okay. So how does that statement feel to you in terms of giving you, what I'm looking for is something that comes from you, words that come from you, that give you a drive, that create a desire to achieve that goal. So I want to be an adaptive, resilient, and proactive facilitator.
Yeah. I mean, to me, those three words, which came, well, not randomly, but just hit me, because that's what hit me straight away. That's just my own intuition. Was partly because if I am a facilitator, stroke osteopath, I need to be resilient myself for the person in front of me. I need to be that person to who they come to you. So you need to be resilient. Now, I also need to be adaptive, because people come with all different things that situations, physically, psychosocially, and you need to be adapted to how you adapt yourself to the patient. right? And how you adapt the treatment style according to what they need or what they would like, right? Okay. And proactive is because you need to understand what else can you do to support that person.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. And today, how would you rate yourself 1 to 10 as this person, an adaptive, resilient, and proactive facilitator?
I'm getting there. 6.
Okay. And in 3 months, when you have achieved, when you're doing 3 to 4 times per week, where would that take you in this rating?
Normally, I would say I would look at this to take me, but I would like to think, in a short space of time, because you're doing it, towards an 8.
Okay.
Yeah. So, between 7 and 8, however you rate it.
Yep. Okay.
I mean, if you had to say, if you want to become as an adaptive, resilient, proactive facilitator, that for me would be a 9 out of 10. I don't want to be a 10 out of 10. I don't need to be a 10 out of 10. That's enough. So there is another level. The remaining, it's a classic, your graph goes shoof, and then it, and it's the last part is the hardest part, to maintain it.
Yeah. Okay. Is this helping?
Yeah, a lot, because really I don't have a chance to talk about things like this with colleagues. My cohort of friends are not I don't talk to them about this, although they would be quite open to talk about it, but they're quite busy, and I need to have these discussions, these thought processes. I'm kind of halfway there, or 60% there with my own thoughts, as you alluded to, with how to manage it. I just need to bring it together, and having chats with you, particularly, you're bringing together those key words, and what does that represent to me, and how does that serve you going forward? I won't have those conversations with many other people, and it kind of crystallizes or starts to bring it together as that focus point.
Okay, cool. Can we bring it to a very measurable goal for you to define, to reach before our next conversation?
I guess, yeah. I mean, for me, if I say to make this sort of measurable, it have to be like a month's time, and in that time, between now and then, I'll look at my own program, so to speak, and and I've just bought some very simple weights, because you can't go to the gym, and so I'll put a little program together for myself to serve those 3 or 4 slots that I set aside, which is more than achievable. But do it in a way that you're not doing it for the sake of doing it. I need to research the movements I like to do, the weights, the type of strength I need to do. So I need to do that a little bit between now and a month. That would be measurable. Have I found a program that suits me? That would be my first step. And then I can revert back to you. I've succeeded in finding a program I can stick to. I enjoy it. It's not going to get boring. I can adapt it and be proactive to use those words to keep my interest.
Okay.
That would be measurable. That I have in a month's time. I've figured out trial and error a plan. I think that's reasonable.
So in 1 month, we'll have another session.
Yeah,
you would have created a plan. Is that what you're saying? You're saying more than this.
I would say, yeah. I would have a plan of number of sessions of running and movement, and what type of movement and what type of weight. Like I found, and I'm comfortable with the routines or variety that I can mix and match for going forward, that keeps my interest, and it's things I like to do. So I like to do movement, I like to do functional movement. At the moment you're limited because you only can do it in the house, or so I can't go to the gym, which I would do, and it'd be a little bit easier in that sense, because it takes you away from the house.
Yeah. So in 1 month, you would have created a plan, researched
Mm-hmm.
it, put it all together. You would
Yeah.
have, how many sessions would you have done in 1 month before our next session?
In between 12 and 16.
12 to 16. You want to choose a number to
Oh, do you want to
make
lock it
this
in?
hard?
Okay. Yeah. All right. Sorry. I'll just, I mean, personally, I can do 4 times a week. So it'd be, 16.
Okay.
I mean, the other thing that I would do to help me is there are 1 or 2 people at university that I can talk. I'm quite open with talking to people, but they're actually functional trainers, qigong trainers. They do that. So it'd be good to see if they have time to sort of help me on 1 or 2 things, or correct, give me an idea of what things I could do at home that would support this. So, as much as me doing it on my own, it'd be quite nice to sort of bring in someone else if there's someone has time to do that.
So is that a third part of the goal, or is that the support you're going to
Just
put
initial
together?
support, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Partly, just to to engage in conversations about this discussion, because I'm sure other people are going through it, maybe not thought about it, because quite frankly, most of the people in the school are less than 25. They're fit and healthy. They don't give a shit.
Yeah,
right?
they're just naturally like we used
Yeah,
to be when we were
yeah.
25.
They'll smash themselves, study until 5 o'clock in the morning, or go drink, or mainly drinking really, and then get up and do it, like we used to, right? But can't do that. So I have
Okay.
to. So there are other people, there are colleagues who are able to support that, and and it'd be good, that's how we are. We support each other. Everyone has a unique, different skill.
Can we formalize that third one into an actual goal?
All right.
What would
Yeah.
that sound
Okay.
like?
I mean, the goal would be that I get some buy-in from another colleague,
Yeah,
and I have that conversation about this discussion we're having today. So it's an open discussion. See what their thoughts are about it. Who are and there are people there who are similar age, blah blah blah, who kind of could relate to this, but also at the same time they're movement instructors
cool.
separately. Right, so I'm fortunate in that sense. So I'll find the right person that I feel comfortable with. Ask me if they have, I'll explain that I like to do movement. This needs sport. Can they help me? Because they need to do that anyway themselves. Because we actually have to produce a short video for our business plan as a social media sort of postings for advertising our virtual clinic when we go out there. So they have to do it anyway, so it supports them.
Can I give you some feedback on what I'm noticing in
Yeah.
your way of being as you speak right now?
Yeah, go
Um, as you began thinking through the plan, and as you started seeing solutions and how to carry it out, I find your voice becoming, your breathing becoming shallower and faster. And like there's this excitement building up of like, okay, I need to go. I got to go do this. I want to get to work.
Yeah.
Is that, are you
Well, I kind
feeling
of
that?
had in my head who to talk to. Yeah, I mean, this conversation unlocks things, because I must admit, like again in lockdown, you don't have these conversations at the moment, right? I'm struggling at school with people because you don't have the face-to-face interaction.
Yeah.
And that's why this whole we do, but we don't. It's limited times. We don't have the same. It's not.
Yeah.
We don't have time to sit down. I'll make time, and I'll make a request for an individual to talk about this. But ordinarily, you don't, or you assume you can't.
Yeah.
So these conversations are, with yourself was timely because it serves me for the next steps. So that's why it's important.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Do we achieve a win?
Yeah. No, I'm. I didn't know. Sat down today. I honestly had no idea what I was going to be talking about. Quite frankly, I know what I need, and I looked at my lenses and I thought, yeah, actually, yeah, I can bring that forward, and that actually, so I had a rough idea, but I didn't really know how it would pan out. So for me, it kind of there's things in my head that I know I need to do. I just bringing it together, and I haven't had the chance to, you know, talk through that with someone or even get questioned about it. You know, the three words are kind of, I'm going to have them up. I'm going to put them up. Right. I love it. Yeah. I'm not very good with like, yeah. So there you go.
All right. Well, great.
Yeah. I feel comfortable with this conversation and and achievable goals. Then I'm not overextending myself, because that's one thing I don't want to do.
Yeah.
It doesn't serve anything. But these are, you know, like I said, incremental.
Yeah. You've had goals at such high levels of physical performance in your marathons and all that, that I'm not seeing a reason to push back on the 4 sessions per week. That it feels like for you that's very, very doable.
Yeah, I mean, it's doable because I'm kind of doing it already. However, I'm not doing it in a structure. I'm not doing it in that like a disciplined way to really break it. I'm doing it when I can fit it in, rather than do it because I should be doing it because I want to do it. You know what I mean? And letting go of the study just to set aside this time, which but knowing, you know, that it underpins and changing, you know, rather than just going running all the time, like we alluded to last time, we're mixing it up for other things that would support me.
Yeah, cool. Okay, great. Anything else?
No, not well, apart from, you know, my sleep and has been, you know, I've been doing some, you know, this monitoring my, you know, my doing the mindfulness and thinking about my breathing before I go to sleep if I'm struggling a little bit. I've only, in the past 2 weeks, we've had two nights where I struggled a bit. That's partly because it's crazy windy and all the some of the monoflex around the building blew off.
Wow.
So it's like a gun being shot every 2 minutes. But
Wow.
yeah, so and we had one day where big conversations with the lawyers about, you know, the next steps for our legal case. So that kind of was a bit buzzy. So I had to sort of manage. But apart from that, I have a lot more energy.
So you've had, in the last 2 weeks, only 2 nights.
Yeah. Whereas before it would have been, you know, 7 out of 14.
That's a huge improvement in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. But it helped by having the conversation with you in the first place. It helps that I, you know, how I interact with stress, like you said, you know, that like with the body, it somewhat becomes self-resolving eventually. Not that, you know, you're someone who buries their head in the sand. You're conscious of it, but you're not necessarily allowing it to get to you. You know.
Excellent. I'm really pleased.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So, yeah. Well, I mean, let's see. I mean, you know, there's lots of plates spinning for us at the moment.
Yeah.
But that's part and parcel. So again, this whole thing is supporting it.
Yeah. All right. Great.
All right. Thank you.
So we'll speak again in a month then, Greg.
Yeah. I'll do that for a month's time. Find the right.
Okay.
Yeah, be a Monday again, most likely, because I don't have the school. Yeah.
All right. Great.
Yeah.
Great
Good.
speaking
Thank
with
you.
you.
Sorry.
Good luck. Great speaking with you.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. All the best. Yeah. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.